up for the hilarious Chad Johnson. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
All right, yeah, that's fine. I'm getting comfortable. I was in an accident when I was 18. It was like a gnarly accident. It was literally gnarly. Like, fucking, it was so cool. So, like, I used to be into longboarding, not like those dorks you see downtown that are like, I'm getting to work. No. Go find me the biggest hill that exists in a 50-mile radius, and I'm gonna go down it. And then I'm gonna get to the bottom, and I'm gonna go, that wasn't fast enough. And so my friend pulls me in by his car. I hold onto the side of his car, and then he pulls me in, and I go, whoa! And I'm, oh. That shit's sick as fuck. It's so cool. So one day I was doing that, and my top speed was 57 miles an hour on a longboard, which is really fast. I never wore anything. I was just 18, it was bad. So I had my friend fucking tow me into this hill. I'm going, and there's traffic. And so I'm going down, and there's a van far in front of me. And I'm like, that's gonna be fine, we're good. But then this like yard waste thing pulls out in front of the van slows down, and I'm like, oh no. And so it's a little turn, I try to go around it, but my board hits the curb, and the thing that I remember last was my hands hitting the side of the van. And then I woke up in the hospital. I was like, cool. But what did happen was I hit the side of the van, fell down, and my knee was on the curb and my foot was on the road, and the van went right there in the middle, like you're trying to break a kindling, you know? It broke that kindling, dude. So I wake up in the hospital, and there's a doctor, a cop, and a guy that works at Cherry City Electric. And so they're all like, hey, and I'm like, nice, I feel great, what's happening? And they're like, okay, you've been in an accident? And I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds cool. They're like, okay, you broke your leg, double compound fracture. And I was like, cool. They're like, no, very bad. Both your bones were outside your leg. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, so we fixed that. It's all metal now. You're gonna be good. That's gonna be way better. And I was like, cool, that's great. And they're like, yeah, in like 2 years, you'll be able to walk again. I'm like, okay, fine. And then they're like, okay, here's the other thing. You hit your head really hard. And I was like, okay, like you weren't wearing a helmet. I'm like, yeah, I know. And they're like, you had a grand mal seizure that went a little too long, and we had to sedate you out of that and take you to the hospital. And I was like, cool. And they're like, no. They're like, you're 18 right now. I'm like, yeah. They're like, the injury you had in your brain might make it so that you're 18 forever. And I was like, cool. And they're like, for a little while, maybe. Yeah, that's pretty sick. And I'm like, yeah, hell, that sounds awesome. And they're like, idiot. So that happened, and I was like, all right, drug button, cool. And then so my focus moves from doctor to police officer, and I'm like, this is a weird one. And he's like, hey, I'm here with the guy that was driving the van. And I'm like, nice. Sorry about that. And so the cop is just there to let me know that I can't sue him. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. Fuck, okay. Why? And he goes, the speed limit on that street is 25 miles an hour. The guy that pulled you into the road, into that hill, told us that you were going 53 miles an hour, and he clocked it and he thought that was cool to say out loud. But you doubled the speed limit. And if anybody in this room knows what that means, that's a misdemeanor. You can't claim yourself as a pedestrian if you're speeding. That's what he said, that sentence, and I was like, oh, fuck. And then I was like, Chris, dude, what the fuck, you, come on. Thought it was cool. Yeah, so that's the thing. I didn't get the misdemeanor, but it was all just kind of like, you can't sue him and you're gonna be fucked in the head, but you're not in trouble. I was like, oh, okay. All right, cool. I bring this up because I'm out in public all the time and I see people looking at me and I'm like, what? Can you tell? I'm like insecure around my daughter's friends' parents and shit. And because I just feel like they're looking at me like a kid. And I'm like, no, that's not, I don't know. Sometimes I'll walk by a mirror and I'll just see my dad real quick. And that's all I saw. I don't see this guy, I see my fucking dad. And I'm like, I think I'm in trouble again. The most awesome thing recently that has happened in my life, I put up a rope swing in my backyard 2 days ago. And it's so fucking sick, dude. That's it. It's so cool. Bye.